Can you hear me okay?
Good afternoon, it's 3 o'clock and I'm Ryan Honey with your Solent Sports News headlines. Breaking news in the last few minutes is Eastleigh FC winger Sam Smart has joined Havant and Waterlooville on loan until the end of the season. The 23-year-old has played 15 times for the Spitfires this campaign, but didn't manage to register a single goal involvement. His move to the National League South side should earn some much-wanted game time. We're on the line with former Havant and Waterlooville press officer and non-league journalist Henry Deacon to talk about the move. Henry, thanks for calling in. Just how good a move is this for the Hawks?
I think it's very shrewd. I think if the truth be known, Sam Smart hasn't had the best of seasons in the National League, but as a Conference South player, as a National League South player, I think this is a really big coup for Havant. Obviously, their period, and we'll talk about it in a moment, where they're kind of not at their best at the minute, struggling to pick up results. And Sam's a player who probably needs to run a game somewhere, pick up a bit of confidence, and then kind of go again next season. We've seen in the past the quality he had. I mean, first time I saw him, he played for Basingstoke at the Hampshire Cup final against Havant. Absolute tour as a part, great player, but I think probably needs to run a game, needs a bit of confidence to get himself going again.
As a young player, do you think a player like that dropping down a division will only make him better?
Yeah. People say, well, yeah, you should be in that environment at a high level. Yes, I get that. But I think at the same time, he's been there for a few years now. And he needs game time more importantly than anything else. He will get that there because of the injury problems that Havant have got. They're at a good club with good infrastructure, good people there. Struggle, of course, in the league. But yeah, I think it's a good move for him. I think it's a good move for both parties.
And just touching on Eastleigh, it looks to be a busy period for them on and off the pitch. Yeovil tomorrow. How do they turn their season around?
If it's truth be known, it's picking up results. I know it sounds as simple as that, but it is the case. I mean, Yeovil, good side, consistent side as well. They're always a team that's seen to pick up results at these types of grounds, at these types of places. So not an easy game whatsoever. But for Eastleigh, they just need to find something, find a bit of confidence, get a victory on the board. They're in that weird predicament where they're not going to get in the playoffs, they're not going to go down, so they're kind of fighting for positions and that extra little bit of money that every place on the league table gives you.
Perfect, Henry. That's all we have time for. Moving on. Southampton will be looking on to keep their good run of form when they take on Manchester United tomorrow lunchtime. The Saints, who have lost just 1 in 9, came back from 2-1 to win 3-2 against Spurs on Wednesday evening. Both teams have showed very contrasting form in recent weeks, so tomorrow's game is anyone's for the taking. Manager Ralph Hasenhüttl raised eyebrows in the week about his future. Southampton correspondent for the Daily Echo, Alfie House, believed the Austrian's passion for the club will be difficult to replace.
You see on Wednesday's game particularly how much passion, how much he puts into every game. I can see why he told us that if he was to sign a new 3-year deal, he would be 60 by the end of that deal. And it's a very demanding job, he says. But look, it's by no means a foregone conclusion. I think we'll probably have to put it to bed for now and see later in the future.
Hasenhüttl's opponent in the dugout on Saturday, Ralph Rangnick, has said Cristiano Ronaldo needs to score more goals. The Portuguese has gone 5 without finding the net and was left on the bench against Burnley in midweek. United have struggled to convert chances recently, something the German knows they have to improve.
You only need to look at the players we've had available to tell you, logically, you're not going to compete. But for us...
Yeah, but it's not only about Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, that we should score more goals is obvious. I think we are creating enough chances and enough opportunities. And this is also something that needs to get better in the next couple of weeks.
Leicester manager Brendan Rodgers was proud of his players despite last nil's 2-0 defeat to Liverpool at Anfield, missing key players such as Jamie Vardy, Timothy Castagna and Johnny Evans. Rodgers believes his side can eradicate errors and push through this run of form.
And add more quality to our performance at the weekend. You only need to look at the players we've had available to tell you, logically, you're not going to compete. But for us, it was much better tonight. Let's take that spirit, that quality, and add more quality to our performance at the weekend.
Meanwhile, Arsenal maintain their top 4 hopes with a 1-0 victory over Wolves. Brazilian defender Gabriel netted the only goal of the game, whilst international teammate Gabriel Martinelli saw red in freakish circumstances. Referee Michael Oliver brandished 2 yellow cards in the space of 30 seconds, but the Gunners held on for the points. Newcastle could be without star signing Kieran Trippier for a number of weeks after he came off injured in midweek against Everton. The England international fullback scored a free kick on Wednesday evening before being forced off. Boss Eddie Howe says the club can't really afford to be without him.
He's been so important for us in recent games. I thought he was outstanding against Everton, highlighted by his free kick. Brilliant execution. But his all-round game I thought was so good. It'd be a big blow to lose him, but we'll wait and see.
On to the Winter Olympics now, and Russian figure skating star could be thrown out of this year's competition. A 15-year-old Kamila Valieva, who won team gold on Monday, tested positive for a banned heart medication back in December. Four-time Olympian Paula Radcliffe believes it's much more worrying because of how young she is.
If it is being introduced from somebody around her, they do have a duty of care also to a 15-year-old. So it's hugely concerning. It's concerning for the people who've had to compete against her because, yet again, they're not getting the opportunity to compete on a fair and level playing field.
Elsewhere in curling, it's been an indifferent day for the men's team. They were put to the sword this morning in Beijing by the USA. However, they bounced back this afternoon, beating Norway 8-3. Whilst this morning, the women were beaten by South Korea. Meanwhile, the men's skeleton GB have won a medal in the last 5 games, but Matt Weston and Marcus Wyatt have found it difficult so far in the heats. On to rugby now, and England Rugby Union head coach Eddie Jones has rung the changes ahead of his side's Six Nations match this weekend. Among the switches, Harry Randall replaces Ben Youngs at scrum half for Sunday's match against Italy in Rome. Jones says he's been impressed with the Bristol playmaker and that he brings some excitement to the lineup.
Yeah, Benny started for us last week. We've just reversed the roles there. Yeah, he's a live wire halfback. He's very good in broken play. He's got a good solid pass on him, and his kicking game's improving.
Wales rugby boss Wayne Pivac has heaped praise on 2 of his star players ahead of their must-win Six Nations clash against Scotland tomorrow. Fly half Dan Biggar and centre Jonathan Davies are set to make their 100th Test appearance as the Dragons aim to get their first points on the board.
You play 100 Test matches, it says a couple of things. You know, the resilience, the ability to get selected week in and week out over a long period of time. So their form's always good. Those players work hard. They make sacrifices. Looking forward to both of them getting out there and celebrating.
4-time Formula One world champion Sebastian Vettel believes Michael Macy should remain as FIA race director despite recent race controversy. A late safety car entry in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix cost Hamilton the title as Max Verstappen stole in at the death. And this has raised serious question marks over his future in the role, but Vettel feels the criticism is unjust.
It's a shaming to see that it's focused on one man, you know. I think he probably had a very, very difficult position on that day, and we probably should focus on making the rules better and more clear. So I don't understand why there's been so much focus around him.
That's all from us now. I'll be back in an hour. Remember, you can keep up to date on our website,